Welcome to Live with Crabtree Coaching Collaborative, your compass for educational excellence. Now, as instructional leaders, we want to avoid that overwhelming sense of burnout and exhaustion because of all of those different competing priorities. We want to avoid our staff members becoming utterly frustrated because they cannot keep up with the demands. And let's face it, we want to avoid just having that lack of confidence because we don't feel like we're making any progress. That's why you're here, right? My name is Alyssa Crabtree, and with over 16 years of experience, I am here to help you gain clarity, amplify your learning like never before, and hone in on intentionality. This is where transformation begins, and excellence is always the standard. Remember, we are in this together, my friends, so let's do this thing. Welcome, everyone, to Live with Crabtree Coaching Collaborative. Wow, can't even talk tonight because I'm so stinking excited about our guest. We have with us tonight Chip Baker, who is an educator, an author, and the host of the very successful podcast and YouTube channel, the Success Chronicles. So, Chip, thank you so much for being here tonight.
Thank you so much for having me. I've been looking forward to it and ready to dive in.
Yes, and that's one thing, like, especially when we talk about leadership, instructional
Mhm.
leadership, and its
Yep.
impact. You're the guru, like you know the jam. So I am ready to dive in.
Yes,
Let's
ma'am.
go ahead
Let's
and
get
tell
it.
our audience a little bit about yourself and your journey.
So, I'm an ordinary guy working real hard to achieve some extraordinary things.
I like that.
Um, man, I am Chip Baker. I'm a fourth generation educator, teacher, former coach. Blessed and fortunate to be raised by some great people, as well as be around some awesome people in my career to learn from. I started my YouTube channel, 24 years in education. 20 of those years, I was an athletic coach as well. And started my YouTube channel and podcast, The Success Chronicles, about 8 years ago. And what I do is I just interview people from all walks of life and share their stories for positive inspiration and motivation. Started writing books about 5 years ago, and to the date, been a part of and published 17 of those. And so that's been a great journey. And brings us to where we are now. Truly grateful for the ride, truly grateful for the opportunities, and it's been a blessing.
Man, Chip, a fourth generation
Yeah.
educator. Like, how powerful is that? And, you know, how does that help you become the coach, the leader, the educator that you are today?
It's funny that you say that. When I speak, I always tell a little bit about me, and I, say that I'm a fourth generation educator. And I did it again. I always catch myself smiling when I say that.
Of
Right.
course, that's awesome.
Right. And so I smile because I'm grateful for that. I tell people this too. I come from a family of church folk, right? That's a no S. That means we were in church a lot growing up,
Yep.
church folk and educators. And so, reason, with church folks thing, my mother was the minister of music in our churches that I grew up in, as well as my grandmother was a minister of music as well. So, church and education. And so, I say all of that because I was taught to live a life of service. I
Mhm.
was taught to live a life of understanding that it's bigger than me and that it's not about me. I was taught to live a life of understanding that even when you don't have what you feel you need to have, it's important for you to go above and beyond and do something for something else because it's bigger than you. Right. And so I'm truly grateful to have been raised that way. And I've just strived to, in my day to day life, in my career, and everything I do, I've just strived to make those people proud based off of the things that they taught me, and in hopes to make a positive impact on our world.
Ah, beautiful, Chip. And just
Thank
for
you.
you mentioning that it's bigger than us. It
Yeah.
like that expectation is leadership. And I
Hmm.
think that's so impactful.
For sure, without a doubt. I think focusing in on that too allows us to grow through the tough challenges that we face as well. Because none of us are immune from growing through tough things.
Hmm.
Let me give them that again.
Yeah.
None of us are immune from growing through tough things, right? But the ability to understand that um, when I'm growing through those tough things, if I can think about what I'm grateful for, if I can think about what are the lessons that I'm learning, if I can think about uh, who can I help, uh, then that allows us to get through that we're going through.
Hmm. And you hit the nail on the head with the idea, or not the idea, maybe just the action of gratitude. Even
Yes.
when you're going through those hard times, even just professionally, education is not
Yeah.
easy.
No.
But if we have a defeatist mindset, it's not going to take us anywhere. It's actually just going to spread toxicity. And how do we, like you mentioned, grow through the hard times? I love that.
Yes, for sure. Yeah, for sure. We have to grow through what we go through.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
So, how did you come up with the Success Chronicles? Like, I'm kind of getting an idea based on
Hmm.
what you've said already, but the Success Chronicles, where did that come from?
Yeah. So I've always been fascinated with success. Right. I was raised by a single parent mother in a small hometown, and so I've always wondered, you know, like what do successful people do to make it to be successful? you know, and so I've always wondered those things. Um, Again, like I said earlier, I was blessed to be around great people to show me that in a day-to-day basis, but then also the bigger picture, seeing stars and seeing people that are or motivational that I strive to be in my life, MLK, like people of those sorts. um I've always wondered, like, how, like, what was their journey like, what was their path like. And so, as I got older and was able to be around information and knowledge and more people and more experiences and gain all of those things, it just got more and more interested in it. And so, um, there was a point in my life where, like I said, none of us are immune to growing through tough things. There was a point in my life before I started the Success Chronicles where some tough things had happened to me, right? And I knew that I was on the I gotta get better tour, if you will.
I've been on that tour for sure.
Oh my gosh, I'm still on it today, let me tell you. But man, I was on the, hey, I gotta get better because I was broken, right? In
Yeah.
all kind of ways. And so I was having conversations with people that were pouring into me, that were encouraging me, that were looking out for me, guiding me, right? Um, but then I was thinking, like, man, this is so good. Like, I can't just keep this to myself. I got to share this with some people, right? And so I just took my love. I took my love for music, uh, technology, media, um, my love for learning, my love for having conversations, to share my love for, like, I love stories. I love stories of overcoming adversity. So I just took all of those things and put them together and created the Success Chronicles. And it's crazy because, like, it's been 8 years, and like I have no formal training of any of this stuff that I'm doing, right? Like, like, man, like all of the stuff that I'm doing now, like I'm continuing to learn, and the beauty of that is, like, I love learning. Even in doing it for 8 years, I still feel like I haven't scratched the surface on the things that I can learn and be and do and see and become.
Yeah. Well, and the
Yeah.
beautiful thing is, Chip, you are surrounding yourself with successful people because
Yes.
you're providing them a platform to tell their story, and that is
Yeah.
spreading such wonderful light into this world where we're inundated with a lot of negative. And
Hmm.
I think that is something that is important for every leader and every individual.
Yes.
Surround yourself with success and positivity and light.
Yeah, I don't know if I told you this before, but my blood type is B positive.
I like that.
Right? Hey, and I try to stay away from the people with the blood type of O negative.
That is good. That I love that,
Yeah.
Chip. I
So
love that.
so everything that I grow through personally, like I'm not just telling people to go get it and be positive. Like those are things that I work on myself too.
Yeah,
I try to find the good in everything because I think there's a blessing in every lesson,
yeah.
right? We just have to search for what that blessing is and then learn the lesson that we're supposed to learn and then don't keep it to yourself. Go help somebody because share with someone because there's going to be someone else that'll come across the same thing that you had to grow through.
All right, so that's where we're going, Chip.
Come
Right
on.
there,
Come
right
on. Let's
because
go.
let's talk about what it means to be a successful educational leader. And
Yeah.
before we dive into that, I want us to look how our successful educational leaders have helped others grow. And they didn't keep these beautiful things to themselves so that they could be
Yeah.
high up on the chain. Successful leaders lift others up. Let's talk about it. What
Mhm.
you got?
And as you were asking that question, it gave me chills. Um, because a number of reasons, but mainly because I was reflecting on like I took the journey, like as you were like mentally, I went through the journey of going back to being a kid, right? And,
Mhm.
and being around those leaders in my community at my school. Like it was so many people that poured into me and believed in me, even when I thought that I was not deserving of it.
Mhm.
I mean, like it was like I struggled in math like from the time I started taking math to the time I didn't have to take math anymore. I struggled. Yeah, yeah, we all. I str- I struggled, and I worked really hard, but it
Yeah.
was just a struggle. And so, like, there was countless teachers that stayed after school with me, and took time to invest in me and pour into me and believe in me and encourage me, and they didn't have to do that,
No.
right? And
Mm-mm.
so for me, it starts there because I know without a shadow of a doubt what it feels like to receive that.
Mm.
Oh man, it's so good.
It is
Like
good.
like Miss Moody, she didn't have to do that at Miss Weaston. I'm telling you, Miss I can list the teachers,
Yeah, I
right?
can
Because I
too. I'm
know,
picking up them in my
right?
head right now.
Yeah, like they didn't have to do that. And
Mm-mm.
so because they did, it made me who I am,
Yeah.
right? And so I've taken that in my life and in my career because I know what it feels like for somebody to pour into you and just help you. And so that's what I've strived to do. I've strived to offer that to students, to
Mhm.
go above and beyond, to meet their needs, to let them know, no, it's okay, I got you. Like this is a safe place. In this place, when you come here, like no, you're good. Like,
Yeah.
like we're gonna have a good time, right? And we're
Yeah.
gonna be structured. And I got some expectations, and we're gonna work hard. But man, we're gonna have a good time,
Yep.
right? And that's what it's been for me. And so the same thing with leadership. Um, I've strived to in my church, I'm in this leadership group. It's a great group. I've selected, and we do like book studies, leadership, and we were talking about the levels of leadership, and we were discussing how the ultimate, the pinnacle, is when you can um, develop others, right? When you know that you can take those lessons that you learned and use those to develop and empower others, right? And so, teach them the skills, coach them up, walk them through that, but then give them an opportunity to do that. Like, don't micromanage them. Like, hey, like, bro, like, I hired you to do this job. Like, do your job. I'm gonna let you do your job. You know, you need to know I'm here for you, right? And I'm checking out to see like if there's some steps where I can help you.
Yep.
But like if I chose you and I hired you to do a job, that's because I think you are great at doing the job. So I'm gonna let you do your job because I got
Yes.
enough of my job that I need to do, right? And so I think that has been one of the things too. And I think it's awesome to see the long-term benefits of that. And so, like when I was a head coach, athletic director, those are things that I strive to do is to develop my people and love on my people, right? And now I'm seeing, you know, oh no, I'm horrible with math. Let me get my calculator. Hold on. Yeah, 7 years later, no, now I'm looking at 7 years later, I'm still having conversations with those same people that I hired about advice or taking what certain steps or just calling to check on your coach or what you think about this or and I think that's a testament to the effort and the work, the genuine effort and work and concern and love I've tried to pour into them as a leader to receive that back.
Yeah. And I'm going to add on to something. You said something so beautiful, and it was about how, um, don't micromanage.
Yeah,
Let people do it. I hired you for a job. I'm going to let you do that
yeah.
job. And I want to add on, let them do it their way.
Oh man.
Because I work alongside principals, and one of the
Hmm.
things that they will do is they're like, "Well, I have an assistant principal who does this." And I'm like, "Are they getting the job done? What's the level of success criteria that you want for that job?" And it's the
Yeah,
same outcomes. And I'm like, "So what's the problem? Because they didn't do it your way?" Like, you have to
yeah.
release those things so that people can grow and figure it out on their own as well.
And I'll tell you this: there was a leader that I had when I was going into a leadership role. It was going to be different, like it was a big step. And that leader told me, "Know what you know what you don't know, and for that you don't know, make sure you have people around you that know that, so that you can all grow together." And so I think as you said that, it made me think about that because the goal is to put experts on the team, right? Like if I'm good at being a quarterback, well, I need a running back, right? I'm not good at the run. Like I need to let the running back run the rock. If I need a receiver that can catch, I
Yep.
need a specialist that can be a math specialist. Like don't
Yeah.
let me do that. you know, like all of those things as far as the team, like you said, assistant like a curriculum specialist.
Yes.
Let the curriculum specialist be a curriculum specialist. And so in that, they have to have the autonomy to learn and grow as well. Right. And I have to know that like if I'm not like keen on the curriculum based stuff, well, hire a great person, let that great person learn the things, and then we can all learn and grow together for the team. Because really at the end of the day, it's not about Chip. It's about what we're gonna do for these kids,
Yep.
right? And so I have to get over myself because it's not about me. It's about, okay, what are we gonna do to work together to benefit these kids?
So, Chip, tell me, as a leader yourself, and you've been a leader in multiple areas,
Hmm.
how do you feel about leaders taking the time to truly get to understand their team by doing some self-discovery, maybe some
Hmm.
working genius type
Yeah.
strategies? How do you feel about that? How important is that for a leader to do?
Oh, it's so crucial to get to know your people. I think up front, it's crucial to do the research to know your people as well, right? So, like, especially if you're in a position where you're going to hire someone, like, you need to know what you're getting,
Yeah.
right? But then also, once you get the person, hire the person, I think you need to make sure you invest time into those people. And that's really tough because it's so task oriented, it's so numbers oriented, it's so structure this time, bell schedule,
Yeah.
duty. Like it's so much of that stuff. So you really have to be intentional about having those conversations. Hey, how's your family? Like, how's your kids? Like, like those things. Like the conversation I told you that I had just recently with one of the person that I led, we talked about the kids,
Yeah.
like, so like those things, you have to be intentional about taking those times, when we're on duties, how you doing, checking in, like we have to do those kind of things. Or, in meetings, starting with, okay, give me three positives, tell me something
Mhm.
about you, going around the room, because I'm telling you, um, I've been in situations to where there's people that work with people for several years, and they didn't even know the person that sat at the desk next to them in the office because
And
they
th
didn't
yeah,
take
that's
the time.
sad.
And they didn't take the time to do that. But the people, I'm telling you, the people that I've had that were leaders that were intentional about Chip, knowing who Chip was, man, I would run through a brick wall for those people.
Yeah, say that again, Chip, because I think
Um,
our leaders need to hear that.
yeah, yeah. So the people that were intentional about, learning Chip, helping Chip, and I'm not saying that in a manner that it's about me. I'm
Yeah,
saying that they were type of people that love taking care of their people,
yep,
right? And when I had those types of leaders, man, I would run through a brick wall for those people because I know they cared about me as a person and not so much of what I had to offer, right?
yep,
Like, and I'll give it to you for a sports analogy. You were, I don't know, Chris Smith as opposed to number 24.
yeah, and
You know what I'm
that
saying?
makes a huge difference.
Oh, that's a huge difference. Oh, wait, you know my name, you know my family, like
Mhm,
like what I'm about. I come from a single parent mom. Like the triggers. That I need some support. Like just taking the time to know those things right there. I've won the kid, or I've won the person that I'm leading because I was intentional about learning that. And it's not about, okay, what about this duty? you know, like you'll get to that duty because we'll walk there together, talking about kids,
yep.
you know.
And that's so true, and when administrators or coaches, instructional coaches, anyone in a
Yeah.
leadership position, I want you to think and consider when you are trying to get or receive teacher investment in a new idea, in a new goal, how likely are they to work towards that goal if
Yeah.
they feel like you are not invested in them? And even if they're scared, even if they question a little bit, if they know that you're invested, they'll invest back.
So I'm gonna give you this analogy. In a bank account, uh, you can't withdraw from an account you haven't deposited anything in.
100%.
And so that's people, relationships, communication as well. And so in order to have ultimate success, it's important to deposit into your people, right? And not deposit into your people just to say, I'm depositing so I could get something. It's
Yeah.
not like that. No, it's depositing because that's the right thing to do, right? You're
Mhm.
supposed to take care of your people, excuse me. And
Genuinely.
then, yeah, yeah. And then when you take care of your people and you deposit into your people, um, man, you can get withdrawals anytime you need to. You can ask them to do, they'll run through a brick wall for you,
Yeah,
just like I said earlier.
100%.
And so, like, and I'll just tell you, and I talked about my journey with the YouTube channel and the podcast and the books and the speaking. I do speaking, leadership training, leadership development, all of those things. And I can tell you the people that have been the most supportive of what I do are the people that I've poured into a long, long, long time ago,
Yeah.
right? And when I was pouring into those people, I wasn't pouring into those people to say, oh, I'm gonna help this person with this because later down the road, I'm gonna start this and they're gonna help me with this. Right?
Yeah.
It's not that. No, it was none of that. It was, hey, man, just take care of your people because you're supposed to take care of your people.
Yeah. And so thinking of that, I do want us to kind of talk about the way that we communicate with our people. And I
Yeah,
know, one of your books, you write all
yeah,
about communication. And
yeah.
so tell us, what does effective communication look like for campus leaders, whether they're in athletics, they're a principal, they're an instructional coach, curriculum developer? How do they need to approach communication?
I think there's one thing that I learned early, and I'm glad that I learned this is that you have to understand the proper chain of command,
Hmm.
right? And I
Tell
think
us about that.
when the proper chain of command is communicated, then you know things work out effectively because there's a system for it, right? So example, like on a campus, um, for example, on a campus, you have your principal, associate, assistant, department chair, all of those things, the lead teacher, like, so teacher, so you go like all of those chains of command. So as a teacher, if you have a issue, your first deal is, go to your lead, right? Then if the lead is good, then go to your department head, right? But you don't just go from teacher to head principal with
Mm-mm.
the with the like, how are we going to teach this? Hold
Yep.
on, wait a minute, you need to go back and talk to this person. And so having a proper chain of command in place and communicating that, I think that's where it starts, right? And then that way you teach your people, okay, this is the system that we have in place to communicate. Now, I have an open door policy, right?
Yeah.
But we have to understand that we have to have the proper chain of command. And so within that, it allows us to move efficiently and effectively.
Yeah, 100%.
Hmm.
And even taking it to administrators or whatever leadership capacity you're in, you had mentioned communicate it clearly to everyone. And
Hmm.
so if you are someone on the leadership team that isn't necessarily pulling their weight when it comes to receiving the communication,
Hmm.
I'm going to implore administrators, hold that person accountable, because
Yeah.
what ends up happening is, okay, this person's not being receptive or receiving that communication. What do the teachers automatically do? They're either going to
Mm.
go back and complain and get angry
Yeah.
and just that toxicity is going to fester, or they're
Right.
going to overload someone else.
Yeah. I mean, there's a number of things I think that can help with that. I think the first thing is, it's important to be open and honest, right? In my book, Effective Conversation to Ignite Relationships, I did research on, um, ask people like in your relationships, what are some, top things that you like that were effective? And I'll share this one, and this can be used in any environment because the environment was a relationship with a husband and wife, right?
Uh-huh.
But it can be taken and used in anything. And this is the communication scale, problem scale, right? And so uh you know two being, it's not a it doesn't bother me, it's not an issue, right? 9, 10 being, hey, don't do that. Right? And so the example was crumbs on the table, right? That
Oh,
I was given. Yeah, I mean, I'm telling, like, it's crazy. So it was crumbs on the table. So the
10.
wife, so yeah, right, right, exactly, right. So it was not it was not quite a 10. It was a 9.5, right?
Uh,
Right. Hey, some may say it was a 12. Hey, hold on, wait. The scale only go to 10. Okay, hold on. But it's like a 9.5 for the wife, but the husband, I mean, it was like a 2, a 1,
mm,
right? Right. And so now, so like if we're in that situation, I'm like, hey, where you at on this? Right. And you can say, oh man, that's a 10 for me. I can quickly say, hey, that's a 2 for me. So now I know, right? Now I've communicated with you where I am, and you heard that and you respect that, and you communicated with me where you are, and I heard that and I respect that. So now the thing is, okay, how are we going to work together to get that closer to a 5 for both of us? Right. So then now on my end, on in the situation, what happened was the husband was like, okay, well, I can be the crumbs on the table guy. You don't have to worry about that. I'll take that. Right. So after every meal, when we eat as a family, I wipe the table and make sure there's no crumbs on the table.
Yeah.
Right. And so for you, that shows you, oh man, he's making an effort. Like it means something to him. I know that it's not really important to him, but it means something to him that I'm okay, right? And so now you see that, oh, he's making the effort. Deposits.
And people just want to be seen and heard. And so if
Yeah,
you know that I'm feeling at a 9 or a 10 with this problem, and you accept it, or you try to then refocus your mindset on that, you're validating the problem. You're hearing me, you're
yeah,
seeing me.
yep,
Whereas sometimes I might hear someone's problem and be like, why is that bugging you? Like that should be
yeah,
nothing. But then
yep,
that's my opinion. That's my feelings towards it. But I love this idea of the problem scale and being very open in front. This is where I am, because then it gives you, the leader, the opportunity to validate and see the person
right.
in front of them.
And how long does that take? Like a couple seconds. I mean, that's a 9 for me. That's a 2 for me. Okay, so then now, like, hey, so how can I help with that? Right. That's the
Beautiful.
next step. And then a lot of times, I'll hit you with this. Like you said, people want to be heard. A lot of times when there's an issue, sometimes they're not even asking for actions to be taken. They just want to express it. you know, just listen. Like, are you
Mhm.
willing to listen? Well, yeah, listen. What you got? Right. Well, what's the solution? I don't know what the solution is. I just needed to get it off my chest.
Yes.
you know, right. But then the next phase is okay, after teaching chain of command, after hearing each other, problem scale. The next phase is no complaining rule. you know, so like if you have enough energy to complain, you have enough energy to come with a solution, right?
Mhm.
So when you come to the table, let's not focus in on what we don't have. Let's focus in on, okay, what are we gonna create? What do we do have? And what are we gonna build on from where we have? Because we don't want to waste our time just like complaining and doing all of that. Like that, we could have used that time to get better,
Yeah.
right? So I think that that's another element in that whole bag of tricks of communicating effectively in leadership.
Yeah, principals, coaches, instructional coaches, please set that as an expectation.
Yeah.
You might want people to naturally do that,
Hmm.
but it doesn't happen. So set that as an
No.
expectation. If you come with the problem, you're coming with a solution or possible solutions for us to talk through, because that saves
Yeah,
time.
it does for sure, and you solve problems faster like that too.
And that's what we need.
Oh my gosh, yes,
Yeah. So you've given us a lot of really great strategies for communication. But if I
yes.
am talking to a leader who is just starting out on their journey, or maybe they're a veteran and they're struggling, like they're on the struggle bus, what
Hmm.
would be 2 to 3 steps that they could take right now? And it says right here their communication skills, but let's talk about
Hmm.
their leadership skills. Just two
Okay.
to three first steps they could take that would make an impact.
2 to 3 first steps that they could take to make an impact. I think the first step is to always tap into your why,
Mm.
right? Understand why are you doing what you do, right? And I think that's where it starts because Honestly, honestly, being in education, but even being an educational leader, it is tough.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, it is so exhausting. Like I remember, I'll tell this story as a kid. Grew up with a single parent mom. My mom was educated, like I said. I remember I have a younger sister that's 4 years younger than me. And I remember like there'll be some days we would get home and my mom would say, "Hey, boy, take care of your sister." I
Mhm.
mean,
Yep.
and so like I'll go look in the room and she'll just be laid in the bed, the lights out, like no anything,
You have
nothing
an
on.
ice
She just
pack on her
yeah,
head, like, "Oh."
she just needs some quiet, right? And like I didn't understand that. I didn't really understand it until I got into education, right?
Mhm.
And so it is tough. It is hard. And so we have to make sure that we like just have the ability to tap into our why and understand why we do that. But then the next phase is um I think having a growth mindset is the next thing because there's so much to learn. It doesn't matter, if you're, 25 years in, I can learn something from that day one teacher. You know what I'm saying? And so you have to put yourself in a situation to where you're open and willing to have a growth mindset. And what happens is that opens the door for continued growth for everybody because I'm not coming in saying, "Hey, as a leader, I know it all and
Yeah.
it's this and my way or the highway." It's like, well, like things change, guys. you know, some of this technology that's out, like when I went to school, they didn't have any of that, right?
Mhm.
So, but I still have to learn it, and so that day one teacher can help me with that. And so you have to understand that like it's important to have a growth mindset in everything we do. And then if I could give another one, I think um, so tapping into your why, having a growth mindset, um, is just displaying an attitude of gratitude on a day-to-day basis. And I'll share this one with you. I believe that gratitude is the attitude that determines our altitude. Hold
Yes.
on, let me give them that one again. Let
I
me give them that one again.
like it.
Hold on. Come on, come on. So gratitude is the attitude that determines our altitude. And so we have to make sure that we're grateful for the blessings that we do have, right? Focus in on the good, the be positive, um, be grateful for what we do have because what that allows us to do is when we have that attitude like that, it allows us to soar to higher heights and be grounded, right,
Yep.
along that journey. And so it's important to make sure that we have an attitude of gratitude.
And I think that is so important because, especially with such a hard profession, we
It's hard.
need it's hard. And
It's
so
so
this
hard.
profession is not for the faint of heart.
Oh my
However,
gosh.
we need to lift one another up. We need to be there. And I'm not
Yes.
talking about toxic positivity. I'm talking
No.
about genuine gratitude. Because here's the deal, if I am saying out loud things that I'm grateful for, such as like today, this morning when I was driving in, it was pouring rain and I saw all these people out in the rain
Outside in the
with an
rain.
umbrella, or there was a lot of homeless people in my community, or there were a lot of just families
Yeah.
walking their kids to school with an umbrella.
Yep.
And I was like, I'm so grateful I have a car and I'm so grateful that I can drive. But when I say that, I can't frown. Like it's like physically impossible to grunt and be angry when I'm expressing
Mm,
gratitude. And those endorphins, it just that little hit of dopamine,
yeah.
gives you a rush of happiness.
You can't be grateful and stressed at the same time.
No, you can't.
It don't happen like that.
Mm-mm.
So choose to have gratitude and be grateful because what that does is it allows you to work through those stressful moments.
Yep. Yes. And
Yeah.
that is imperative for
Yes.
our profession.
Oh my gosh. Yes. Gotta have it.
Absolutely. Well, Chip, oh my gosh, before we let you go, I have to
Yeah.
ask you, one, where can our listeners find you on social?
Yeah. So on my social media, it's all Chip Baker TSC, as in the Success Chronicles. All of my social media is that, except for Twitter, and Twitter is at Chip Baker 19. And so,
Okay.
my hope is to I'm on all of the social media platforms, whatever is your liking. No dancing on TikTok though, but I'm on it. but my goal is to get the positivity, spread positivity out to you. And I just ask, the typical thing that people ask, like, follow,
Yeah.
subscribe, all of those things. That's cool. But I just ask, if you go on and you see something that you like and someone that you care about, or that you want to lead effectively, that you think of, ask that you would just share with them in hopes to make their world better.
Yes. That's beautiful. Any words of wisdom, parting words before we leave tonight?
Mm. Man, that's a deep one right there, because that can be that could be
Deep.
yeah, yeah. No, first off, before I say that, I want to say thank you again for the opportunity to be here on your platform. I consider it an honor and a privilege. I love what you do, love what you're about. I love how you help and lead and influence others. And so I'm grateful to have had the opportunity to hang out with you. And this was awesome. Like, this was some great questions that really made me reflect and search in my heart to give it to you.
Oh, good. I'm glad. Oh,
It
thank you,
was-
Chip. It's been, I
yeah, yeah,
love having you here.
yeah, yeah. So I think, as far as parting words, I just want to remind those of you that are on this platform, you leaders, you educational leaders, that your influence makes a huge impact. And a lot of, and sometimes we don't realize on a day-to-day basis how much of an impact, because we're just going through our day-to-day challenges and routines and grind and those things. But just the ability to show up with a smile, right? Like, it makes a difference. And so
Yeah.
I just want to encourage you to continue to do that, because those people that did that in my life, it made me who I am today. And that's why I'm so passionate about giving that to
Mhm.
others. So go get it.
Yeah, go get it. Light up that room.
Yeah,
Man, Chip,
yeah.
you were just such a light, positive
Thank
energy.
you so
And
much.
thank you for all that you do. And if you
Yeah,
are listening to this or you're catching the replay, go look up the Success Chronicles. Just like, you can't be angry when you watch it. So if you need something to lighten the mood, to make you feel good, I
let's
mean,
go.
show your teachers, use it in your PD so that
Yeah,
you're able to feel that positivity and share success of others. So thank you, Chip, so much.
thank you for having me.
All right. Well, you all have a wonderful night and we'll see you next time.